So I think I'm one of the last channels on YouTube not to feature a San Martin. However, today I actually have one to show you guys. It's a vintage diver, and I have to say I'm actually pretty impressed. Let's flip the camera and take a look at a San Martin. So I love to feature all different types of brands on my channel, from brands that cost tens of thousands of dollars to brands that are more affordable, homage brands, things like that. It's just the way that I collect, and that's how I run this channel. It probably cost me subscribers because some subscribers may not want to see a San Martin. However, they want to see something more expensive, and vice versa. So that's just the way I collect, so that's the way I feature watches on my channel. Today we're looking at a San Martin, or San Martin, depending on how you pronounce it. But I have to say, a lot of people have reached out to me and said, these are amazing homage watches. You need to check them out. And of course, here we are. I have one, and I am very happy to show it to you guys. There is some quirkiness to this watch. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But obviously you can see this is an homage to the Black Bay 58. Obviously the Black Bay 58 is an homage watch. That's an homage to a vintage Rolex. So technically it's an homage of an homage, I guess. Because when you turn it on the side, obviously you get that slab side on both sides of the watch. You get that big flat crown, very reminiscent of what you get from Tudor currently, the Black Bay 58. You get a black bezel on here. It's made with ceramic, so it's filled with gilt, a gilt minute track, and then you get gold tone indices and hands, so a lot of gilt goodness on this watch. I really love gilt, especially against this black background. Sort of a matte black dial, which they did really well. You have the San Martin logo right there at the 12 o'clock, or right below the 12 o'clock. Everything looks very, very good on this watch. They did a really great job with the bracelet. The bracelet is all brushed except for the sides, which is polished, and you get these giant screws in here. And then you have this beautiful buckle, a very nice buckle that they did on here. It's getting more common with a lot of micro brands, but you know, this is actually very nicely done. You have brushing and polishing, and then there's brushing on the sides. There could have been a little bit more micro adjust. There is no on the fly micro adjust. I would like to see that. Of course, I say that with every single review. But you get a big plaque here. It is the San Martin or San Martin logo, and it's sort of embedded in the actual buckle, which looks great. And then you get a screwed in case back, which is basically sterile. There is nothing on the case back. Again, very reminiscent of Rolex, so I do like that. And of course, you get really nice bezel action on this watch. It's very grippy, and everything does line up really well. You get a domed box sapphire crystal with lots of AR coating. Look at this. In my studio lights, this is really holding up very, very well. Now we get to one of the quirks. Now the movement in here is a PT5000, which is an ETA clone. It's a clone of the 2824. It's basically similar to what you get from Sellita, the SW200, except it has one less jewel. Now it is a Chinese clone of a Swiss movement. That's not a bad thing, because the ETA movement is a very reliable movement. So obviously these will be able to be serviced by people who can service an ETA 2824. So that's a good thing. I'm not sure if you would pay the price as if it was an ETA 2824, but there you go. There's one quirk here. It does have a ghost 8 position. So there you go. That's the first position. Then the second position, obviously it hacks. That's unfortunate. I don't know why they would put a ghost 8 on here. It's called the upgraded version of the 6200, and they missed that. It does get other upgrades. Obviously you get some female end links on here. You get an upgraded buckle, I believe. There's a couple of other upgrades. Really nice crown action on here. Big crown that is very grippy, and the bezel action is really good. I think they upgraded the bezel action as well. All of this is really nice. The female end links, there's another little quirk here, but it's just a little bit sharp on the ends of the end link. But it's really not that bad, and you don't notice it at all when you have it unfolded, so technically not a big deal at all. Like literally not a big deal at all, but I'm just bringing it up. This is a 38 millimeter watch or 39 millimeter watch. At the case it's 38 millimeters, but at the bezel it's a little bit bigger, 38.9 millimeters. It's a 200 meter watch, so it's a 200 meter dive watch with 12.5 millimeter thickness, so very nice. And then you get a really nice big crown on here, 6.8 millimeters for a 39 millimeter watch. That is excellent. And then as I mentioned, you do get female end links, but when you measure it at the case itself, you get 45.8. At the bracelet, where it actually juts out a little bit, 46.7, but I don't think it'll wear like that. It'll actually wear like the smaller lug span. Really nice, very nicely made watch. Now, I bring up Tudor, obviously saying this is an homage to an homage, because Tudor is basically a sanctioned homage brand, and that's why when I hear people sort of call out, you know, homage brands and sort of, I don't want to call people watch snobs when they do that, but they don't like them because they say they're replicas of other. I mean, I get it, but there are people out there who are sitting with a Black Bay 58 on their wrist, and essentially a Black Bay 58 is an homage to a Rolex. It's almost a copy of a Rolex, of a vintage Rolex. And when a brand like this does it, you know, it's just not sanctioned by Rolex. That's the reason why. But you're not wearing a Rolex, but it looks a lot like a Rolex. So it's just food for thought. I'm not trying to call out people. I'm not trying to be a watch snob or, you know, reverse watch snobbery or whatever you would call it. I'm just saying that, you know, every watch has a place. And even though this looks a lot like a Rolex, it's not a Rolex. And I don't think anybody who knows about Rolex would mistaken this for a Rolex. But that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. This is a $345 watch. They do give you 3 years of warranty, by the way, with this, which is a lot. I think it's one of the best warranties that I have seen from a micro brand, and definitely the best warranty that I have seen from a brand that is like an homage brand, an AliExpress brand. Definitely one of the best. So really nicely made homage brand. It is on the more expensive side for an homage, so $345. I think you could get something like a micro brand in this price point that would be very comparable to this. However, if you were going to go out and buy like an NTH, which is a really good brand to sort of compare this to, I would go with this. The NTH is essentially as good as this watch, but they charge double the amount for this watch. So for the NTH, that is. So I definitely would go with something like this over an NTH because they're homaging the exact same thing, and I think the Saint Martin actually does it a little bit better, at a better price. Anyway, that's really it. So, very quickly, talking about homage brands, right? Today I have something on that is definitely an homage to a few different brands. It's sort of an homage to a Submariner and a 50 Fathoms, because you have this sort of domed acrylic bezel, and you have an acrylic crystal on here. You have the big Cyclops. Of course, it has sort of a Rolex-esque case, big crown, and you have a mixture of different brands on the dial. This is actually an expensive watch. This is like $1,500, somewhere around there. It's tip some. But that goes to show you, I mean, there are different levels of homage. Some more obvious, some less obvious, but there you go. I think that they both have a place in the world, but that's maybe just me, I don't know. But here we go. Here is the Saint Martin on my 7.5 inch wrist. It's not fitted for me yet, but you could see it does wear really nice, and it doesn't sit very high like a Black Bay 58 or you know, most Black Bays. I'm not sure about the 58. The 58 does wear thinner, but most Black Bays do wear a lot thicker than this, and this actually wears very nice to the wrist. And there you go. Very good looking watch. Let's do a quick loom shot and then wrap up the video. So I have to say, I am very impressed with this watch. Loom, very good. Overall quality of build, very good. Couple of little quirks, like I mentioned, the ghost tape position, and then of course the little sharpness on the bracelet. But like I said, that really does not affect the wearer. You will never notice it unless you are folding back the links for whatever reason. I'm a reviewer, that's why I did that, but that's the only you know, other issue that I would see with the watch. Beyond that, if I were in the market for something like an NTH, something that is an homage to a Tudor or a vintage Rolex, I definitely would point people in the direction of this watch because I think it gives you 99 or even 100% of what those watches are giving you at a much lower price point. And even though they make this with the Chinese version of the 2824, you can get it with a Swiss version. They have those on their website, and it's still less money than an NTH. So that NTH is powered by a Japanese Miyota movement, 9000 series, great movement, but I'd still prefer a Swiss Solid SW200 over a Miyota movement currently. But that's just me. This movement actually pretty robust as well. 2824 as a base, which is really not bad, made in China, so it's affordable. So, you know, give and take. But there you go. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think about what I said before about homage watches? About watch snobbery. I really don't bring that up here on my channel at all. And actually, I think I might do a video about that. I think a lot of watch snobs out there are sort of undercover, you know what I mean? And they don't realize they may have a Tudor on their wrist and they're being snobs about, you know, an homage brand. Come on, think about it. Anyway. That's really it. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm not trying to start fights. Tell me what you guys think. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Joma Shop. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.